I'm running on a Saturday night. Oh Lord. I kind of had a crush on Mary Landrieu, but they always put up. She was cute. I don't know if she's still in there. I thought she lost her because she was a Democrat from a red state, Democratic senator from a red state. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Cool. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to have to come down here during the day. You know, I keep thinking I'm done, but there are a few more things. forget that some people are going to be going to Mass tonight. I forget that it's a holiday weekend. Something's going on that they're not taking care of. Put in another one and then I'll ask, hey, what the hell happened with this? Oh man, now you see it all now. What does my vision tell you? So like right now you're looking and you got the speed limit signs, 2 of them, boom, boom. So you can see it from no matter what lane you're in. Highly visible, reflective. In front of it is a no parking sign that's long since faded out. I don't know why it's here, but maybe it was because of the people going to church. So is it still useful? Or does it need to go? You can put a ticket in on that. Hey, can y'all replace that parking sign? It's faded. You know, that's what I'm supposed to do. I just don't, because how many people are still parking over here? Close to a school. I just stepped down off of a curb. There's no crosswalk here. I'm supposed to ask for that kind of stuff. And I maybe not even asked. It's supposed to be there. It's not here. It used to be I just walk through and I say, man, let's get through this in about 45 minutes. Now it's like, man, so they need to do something about that. Yep, need to do something about that. Need to do something about that. Look over there, leaning stop sign. Because they didn't plant it the right way. The soil shifted underneath it, and so it's gonna get worse, but right now it's See, like when they built this, they put in the new sidewalk and did all the improvements. Crosswalk. Would have been nicer if they put a hawk cross in here, but might have to ask for that. I know it's gonna happen. They're gonna do their study and they're gonna say, well, we don't see enough traffic to justify putting the hawk crossing there. And that's where I need multiple voices. I need people mad as hornets saying, you know what? That answer's not good enough. We want this. We need this. Another step down curb. No crosswalk. 2 signs here. Highly visible. So there must be some kind of standard that says there has to be at least 2 if you're traveling in that direction. So then as I keep going, can tell that they did this one, they just redid this one, so it's got the brand new ADA ramps, but no crosswalk. You hear a rattle. Bolt's coming loose. Once again, 2 signs, highly reflective. And I haven't put it in yet because I haven't gotten the daytime footage. I just haven't had the time. There's other things. 1 sign. See, this is a highly illuminated parking sign. Turn around, look. 1 sign, 1 warning that says wireless thing. The sign long since went away somewhere. We don't know where. So put a ticket in and say, hey, where's the other sign at? I've got enough here. I'm counting at least 50 tickets. This is the one spot that's had, you got the ramp, you've got the motion detection signal, walk signal button, you got the painted crosswalk, you got the fire hydrant where it doesn't even block. I mean, they did everything right here. And because they did this one right, every other one looks like it looks out of place amidst the other ones. Listening to Mary Landry on this thing I'm talking about Pell Grants. Back in the 70s, covered 100% of a associate or a 2-year college, a junior college. I didn't know that guy. So I got Pell Grants when I went to college, and they definitely didn't pay everything. The book check kind of covered most of the book stuff, but it covered some of it, and then toward the end it got to cover nothing. And then they used to treat me like I was a criminal. When I first started doing it, that needs to be repainted. When I first started doing it, and it was like, yeah, we got the money here, it's good, go. And then as my academic career went on, as the state got more red, it got harder and harder to get Pell Grants. So it took me longer to get my degree without getting debt. I mean my degrees without getting debt. I never got a single Pell Grant when I went to UTD. Now that I think I applied for the first couple times, and after a while they said, no, I said, you know what, fuck the federal government. So there I am, taking 2 classes a semester, paying out of pocket, and a 4-year degree becomes an 8-year degree. It's bad, because I got a STEM degree, and the problem with the STEM degree is you have to keep that. You have to keep it fresh in your memory every day. That needs to be repainted. Oh man, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of work that needs to be done here. Anyway, with STEM degrees, you have to every year. You pretty much need to keep your math up. It's like flexing muscles. And so there were times when I'd sit there and I would take the higher math classes and something they covered in another class. It'd been years since I had looked at it, and so I was really rusty. I love math. It's just that I couldn't make a career. I mean, I wasn't good enough to make a career out of it. Next to St. Monica. Ramp, crosswalk lines. Now, I can't remember. I can't remember if I asked them to fix that or not. I've asked them to fix a couple of lane and stop signs. Oh man. Crosswalk doesn't look faded. You see it clear as day. Alright. I think I'm gonna have to start picking months and just gonna make it look this one this is a section that we're gonna do and just focus on just this one section. Because I got my attention scattered everywhere and it's taking 4 and 5 hours to put together 20 to 30 tickets a day. I was doing it based on days. Like if it was a day, I was okay, let's do it right here and now and put all these tickets in for this day. Now I think I need to start making it let's hard focus on a section. This one might come last. Because they've got homeowners associations and they're supposed to have community groups that are supposed to be taking care of all of this stuff. I thought they did. And then as I'm looking up the data, it's like they don't have a precinct captain. They don't have a homeowner. They don't have like any kind of association that you can sit there and click on. They barely have a watch. They got the Midway Hollow watch. I think they were saying that 10% of the people pay their dues. So that's so they can pay an off-duty cop to walk to ride around the neighborhood and just kind of watch the sprinkler systems. They can't seem to muster enough neighbors to get together and say, okay, we're gonna have patrols on these nights, can we get volunteers? That's how far things have slid. When I was a kid, they'd have these people having a meeting once a month, and they paid, you know, some people would pay dues, and then they would have entire groups of seniors and whatnot coming in and doing the neighborhood watch. That's all a lot of these places need, just somebody walking around with a flashlight. Being a presence, but also, hey, saw something over here, maybe I want to check it out. Neighborhood watches are dead. I was thinking about something now, is like, people complain that they can't do the neighborhood. It's like, I gotta have a car to do the neighborhood watch. And I was like, why? They didn't have those. I mean, they had all that stuff in the 70s, but most people were hoofing it. Bernie got cut off. The Chinese, I guess they didn't like what he had to say. I'm putting Senator Sanders back on, thank you. I was doing this on Christmas too. He just looked. He looked like he hadn't had a good bath and a shave in a while. Once again, two signs. Got the new font. They got the new signs, man. They ain't got the flashers on the top though. That's weird. That's why they have the no parking sign, by the way. The fact that people can park like this means that they could turn all of this into bike lanes if they wanted to. Make Midway 2 lanes. I mean, yeah, 2 lanes this way. Man, this guy even got all the way up here. Huh. It's a sign that they don't have a interesting. Very interesting. And it tells me, like I said, it tells me that they don't have someone watching this stuff. That's like a bullhorn for thieves. Hey, this is a free-for-all. These people don't watch their neighborhoods. Anyway. They planted their flag in your neighborhood. What you rich people gonna do about it? Actually, I said rich, but I just heard them talking about the Bernie Sanders filibuster. And I don't know if there's really people here that make over $5 million. I think this is middle class, believe it or not, in America. is what everybody, this is supposed to be the big expanded thing. This is supposed to be the big expanded group. Is the people over here are considered middle class. This is a middle class neighborhood. But these houses, man, these houses go for $1 million, $2 million. These people on paper are worth millions of dollars. That's weird. They used to have the first generation of ADA ramps. They don't have that little, I guess, rubber stop. I don't know why those exist. But I think that taking on Midway Hollow would be a lot of fun. I just don't feel it's my place though. I'm looking at this neighborhood through rose-colored glasses, and they got just about the same amount of problems that we got. My street made the news again. My neighborhood made the news again. In an infamous way. Am I ready to talk about that neighborhood, that house yet? That situation? I think I've shared a couple of things over there, but the bottom line is there were a couple of brothers that lived across the street, and they weren't keeping up with the property taxes. They were letting the place go to pot. They were running cars and junk and possibly, I think, even biker meth. They get kicked out of the house. House gets torn down. House is developed into a new thing. New people moved into the $700-some-thousand house. They moved in across the street to their neighbor. He was the guy from Mexico. He dies. His son was a convicted felon, was doing time. So they went in that house and started basically squatting. They said they were taking care of it and paying rent. But really, they were just squatting. They went into that house, the taxes got up again, the city had to sit there and clean it up. Now you see there's a lot of motherfuckers here while I'm sitting here trying to have this conversation with myself. Anyway. They had that house from the dad who was in Mexico, the guy that was in jail. They got tired of, the sister got tired of fighting for it. So they went in that house and they just did what they did in every house they go to. They were connected to another squatter house that was in my neighborhood that it took 4 years to get rid of this guy that was in there. He came in after the person that lived there. She died when the tornadoes hit. That's how much it was. Not the tornadoes. She died when the gas explosion happened. And the city found out, you know, she had Alzheimer's, dementia, and she was living by herself. And they said, no, this won't do. So they tried to institutionalize her. She panicked, died, left no heirs, left no real heirs, and then all of a sudden this guy shows up from her neighbor. She was taking care of her neighbor. I can't say any names, but all the stuff you can look up is all public record. You know what, I got time. I'm going to show you on camera how easy it is to report a streetlight ticket. Oh my God. Okay. Well, there's more than just this that's out. All right. Anyway, so let's do it now. We go here. There's the Oncor street maps. I think it even has GPS. It'll lock into where I'm at. I wish they had an app, they don't. Storm across power is business home, please do not use. Okay. Yeah, it knows exactly where I'm at. This says that I'm south of Park Lane though. I'm north of Park Lane. Okay, there's Park Lane. This is the one. So then I put it in, I hit that button. It tells me FLN, GLN, latitude, longitude from the GPS coordinates. Let's see if it matches. This is the FLN, GLN. So then you've got 363, 0. You can't really make out what this is, but you're looking for 649. This is not, okay, so this is not the one I'm looking for. Maybe I hit the wrong button. This is also not the right one. What's going on here? Am I in the right one? Oh, you know what? I am traveling south. Burp! This is south. Golly, aren't they? They're right. Okay. So, I'm making out the GLN. I can't really see what's going on here. I see a 363. This is all scratched out. Then I see 649. There's 649 in this one. This looks like this is the approximate thing. You say outage issue. Several lights out location, because that's pretty much what this is. Comments 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll just say street lights. So let me talk to my phone. Street lights out from Park Lane to Northwest Highway. Hit next. I leave all my information. You guys don't need to see what my phone number is. Hit next. So do you want any kind of notification? I usually say yes, send me an email. Next. And then they say, hey, you sure you want to put this in? And I say, yeah, sure. I'm not a robot. Report. And that's it. That's how long it takes to report a street light out. Anybody can do this. Put the link to the thing on the phone. It's just that dirt simple. Maybe they'll respond tonight, maybe they won't. I don't know if I'm the only one telling them about this. But that's what you can do. That's being active in your community. That time of year, isn't it? Sorry, Senator Sanders. Have exaggerated, but that's okay. I think they'll see. I don't know what they'll see. I don't know who's working tonight. Biggest problem is you got people that drink and they're gonna get out here on Midway and they're not gonna have any lights. And who, God only knows what they're gonna run into. There's a lot of targets here. This fence they'll go after. That fence they'll go after. So I was wrong. I guess it didn't go all the way out to Northwest Highway. My mistake. I don't have vampire's vision. People have electricity. It's just these lights are always going out. I don't know what keeps getting hit. Maybe squirrels. It might be squirrels. They're nibbling on the power lines. And then when it rains, it gets windy and it rains. It just knocks out whatever power cable supplies. But the cables run underground. It's not like we got prairie dogs. That was the only bright spot of Oklahoma. I was standing in the projects, and there was this park next door, and I went to the park, and they had the little groundhogs. They are not groundhogs, but the little prairie dogs. They were sitting there, poke their heads out. They look at you. Some of them would come up to you because people are feeding them. And then they were going. They were cute little creatures. They looked like they were very smart. And they would just poke their heads out of little holes. I thought that's pretty neat. Is it neat now? Well, I mean, I forget what disease that prairie dogs carry. There's a few. You're not supposed to be feeding them, because then they become dependent, and then they stop being afraid of people, which is not a good thing. People are monsters. So you prepare for the worst when it comes to the prairie dogs. Alright, so I was wrong. It's not all the way out to Northwest Highway. It's out till Lamita. But they know, like they should know. There's supposed to be some kind of thing that's a monitor that comes out and it says, hey, we're showing no power from here to here. We're showing the outage here. It says Edith, but this is Lomita. It will always be Lomita to me. I don't know what happened. Was these assholes put this gated community over here and somehow they took over. So this is Council 13. They took over the signage over here. Sometimes it's amazing what money will get you. I come down here every couple of weeks, and they're throwing this house up here like faster than you can blink. No, I'm exaggerating, but still, the point is, this is breathtaking as far as the speed that they're getting this thing put up. On my street, they got a house that they've been putting together for about 2-3 years now. Cutting every corner they can, letting it sit for long periods of time. There's probably mold all up in the walls. And they're just trying to get it built so that they can get some sucker to buy it and then just walk up and run away. If that house is around in 10 more years, I'll be surprised. Whoever's rich enough to move into it will probably tear it down and start over again. Man, is that this, like, that's the house, that's the garage. This is all going to be a driveway. I don't know. Where was I going with the earlier thing? Anyway, we had the squatter. It came from that one house. He got out. The squatter was only there because the lady that lived in the house died. Didn't leave any heirs. She left the house to the neighbor. The neighbor died. The neighbor's family, who never came to see him when he was struggling with dementia and trying to make, you know, do his day to day. They went in there and brought in this guy who was a degenerate, and then that degenerate brought in these other people. And that's the area of how a neighborhood goes downhill in a heartbeat. Now in your mind you have an image of what these people might look like, and I'm telling you right now, your image is wrong. These folks are from, how do I put this? These were the Appalachian, these were Appalachian inhabitants, people from the descendants of Appalachian inhabitants, let's put it that way. I'll be as PC as I can. All those folks came in, brought in biker meth, tore up the neighborhood, stole stuff, just made it untenable. And those are the kind of people that caused the fire, that put 6 firefighters in the hospital. So that was what was going on in that house. They went in there, got clean, they broke up all of that, took the guy, they gave the guy until February to get out. He didn't get out. 2 months later, now the city of Dallas finally moved on it, kicked them out, had the constable come in there and kick them out, boarded up the place, and then they tore down the boards and went right back in. So then the constable was going after them again. They were cleaning out needles, drug paraphernalia, filth. It's a nightmare. They're going to tear that house down anyway. Those guys went up in there, and you know, the rest is in the news article. But they were cooking biker meth. There were like 4 or 5 houses in my neighborhood, flop houses, where the people come in once a month. You can see them. A bunch of people just come staggering in there to buy their drugs and to use them on the premises. And so, one down, many more to go. quiet. Hit the plate, make no noise. It's a stealth skill, and I don't have it. I'm not wearing the right shoes either, but sneak. So all these years I never realized all of this is city property. The Brockman branch completely belongs to the city of Dallas. But that could change, right? It could be water rights given away to this is city property. At least according to the DCAT it is. Yeah, this is a problem. Some people are already getting their... That guy's drunk. That guy's drunk. Not to the point where he's running into anything, but he's definitely slow and swerving in and out of lanes. They could be texting. Where are you at? Wait, we're in that area. It's just, you know. It's got a nice echo to it, man. I can do some echolocation here. Get a wicked echo. Begin 30 miles an hour. Yeah, I just don't see. This is new. I didn't see this before. And then they had to put no parking signs. What happened over here? You want people to go 30 miles an hour, design the road in such a way to where they have to pretty much do that. The sign ain't gonna get, oh, they repainted. Cars over here, I wonder. Maybe they were having parties or something. I wonder if this has something to do with the rezoning that they're doing down the other way. So maybe they're building a bigger private school, and so they started saying we're going to rezone this as a school and residential corridor. But it's not like rich kids walk to school. I didn't even know there was a street over there. Huh. Canyon Drive. That means that goes all the way to some other space. So something used to be here, and I don't remember what it was. I think this was a like slower, or this is a curved thing. I can tell you one thing about my neighborhood is we don't have enough money yet to put a little plaque on the top of our signs that tell you what estate you're in. Midway Hollow's got theirs. I didn't even know the Bluffview estate. I didn't know what any of this. We don't even really have a name. I guess if you wanted to call us something, we're Bachman. I think one time I looked at the thing and it said Walnut Hill Estates. But that's not exactly accurate. But I guess that's technically what we are. I don't know what it says on I don't know what it says on Nextdoor. An hour to midnight. So the people who live around here, they treat the sidewalk with scorn. I get the feeling that if if they had their druthers, is like the phrase goes, but if they had their way, they would tear all this out. They put their cans on it, they put their trash on it, they let it get raggedy. I guess when they remodeled this one, this is the only new sidewalk they got over here. Oh no, 9/11 was very much his fault. I disagree. Being asleep at the switch is the same as being complicit. I wish I could find the article. I mean, I remember watching it. It was on Headline News when I used to watch CNN on cable. And before 9/11 happened, they were saying, this was like in 2000, 2001, they wanted to put in new measures to increase security at airports. And airplane executives and a lot of the Republican guys pushed back and said, no, this is a waste of time. This is, we don't need this. And I can't find that anymore. It was a little blip. It was a little blip in Headline News, and then it was just quietly buried. They were talking about increasing security before the planes hit, before the attacks, and the industry and lobbyists shot it down. And then old boy was out there clearing brush in Crawford, Texas. Very much responsible. Every time a disaster happens, they look back later and they find out, well, there were a couple of things you could have done to prevent that. And the Republicans just seem to have this aversion to disaster planning. Is there anything to report here? Let's see, they even got the new street lights. Sidewalks could use some work. I mean, here's a little bit of a hazardous sidewalk here. Just barely. I guess that's a sign that there's not really an HOA over here, because they would have gone after these folks for having external lights. We still got the Christmas decorations up. There's a wreath on the door and lights. I was like, all right. Live and let live. Man, so things have changed. I used to come down here and the sidewalks are a lot more junky. And there'd be like trash out here because, you know, the pickup was a certain period. Maybe I just came at the right time. I don't know. Well, they're actually not doing so bad over here. Looks like they put new sidewalks in certain areas. That's new. It was a smaller sign than that, and it used to say 30 miles per hour. The bottom line is you can look through all my old videos and you can see how things have changed. So now I know whose territory I'm in. She is the incumbent. It's weird, I smell fried food, but at the same time I smell rosemary. I think that's that pizza place down there. So I kind of smell oregano too. Are they open? So like this is a weird deal. Maybe they did it because they wanted a dark sky place. You got a light for one side but no light for the other side. So you can't really make out these. But these are the old signs I'm talking about. And that's kind of a park. It's got a sign that says it's a park. It's just a green space. Not, I shouldn't say just a green space, but it's a green space mostly. There are no park amenities. So how come they don't have a homeless problem like everywhere else? Because you got Red's Beer and Wine, and they used to have people hanging out in front of there all the time. What's the name of this place? It is... It's called Field Fraser Park. Mostly green space. Alright. Are your walk buttons working? Yep. No wave, but they work. I don't pay attention to morons. Sounds like the name of a strip club. Okay, I guess they got rid of it. No, maybe it's still here. And they are closed. Sometimes you come down here and you see the dudes parked on the sidewalk. I don't know if they're the delivery drivers or what. Wow. One of those things about Dallas Hates Pedestrians. I don't know how much clearance they got there. I just know they put the thing in the middle of the... This whole area was just badly designed. They put the utility poles right here. Yeah, I got time. Says here 32 inch. I'm going to be generous and give it 32. It's supposed to be 36. I think that's what it is. When the thing moves around. My Bernie Sanders thing here. Here we go again. No parking. Faded. Just the slightest bump and it cuts out. This is a narrow sidewalk anyway. If they had any kind of group, they would fight for this, is to extend this out. You don't need a 3-lane street here. This is not a major traffic corridor, no matter what people try to tell you. You can take away a lane on each side. Extend this out. new sign here. Tracks on the Hiawatha are maintained by freight companies that don't keep it up to where they can go 150 miles an hour. Why is there a section of fence missing here? You're not worried about somebody vandalizing the cars? I guess that's a sign that nobody's buying the cars, and the fact that they used to use this for a demo. Now they're using it for storage. I don't feel bad for them at all. I do not. I was gonna say, are they selling Hondas now? Pre-owns. Pre-owns, man. Boy, I'm advertising for these guys. Man, if you would have told me 10 years ago that not only were you going to get a sidewalk on this portion, that it was going to be a multi-use path, I would have looked at you like, not in Dallas. You know, I talk bad about Dallas a lot because there's a lot of bad things to talk about. But this one I got to applaud them on. And unfortunately, it wasn't because the city wanted this. It was because the businesses stepped up and gave, you know, they said, all right, we'll give you this little pittance. I don't know what kind of backdoor deal they got from this, but it's something. But I mean, right around there, is it there? Yeah, right around there, I had to start running up on the grass and the sprinkler system, and there was nothing over here. And I was like, yeah, that's because these car dealerships probably hate that. You know, what I'm doing right now is competition. Walking is competition. Nobody walks to a car dealership and buys a car, supposedly, right? But yeah, I'll take it. I remember one time I was walking down here and it was snowing, and there was a hole that got covered by the snow, and I stepped in it, twisted my knee, and I thought, that's the Dallas I live in. But yeah, I've been walking this area for over 25 years, and this makes me think it's getting better. Oh, they just put this cap on there. Okay, yeah, this is looking like something. Even that's different. They got this little turn in. Where's that all about? Huh, I just walked across here. But yeah, I used to do, you know, about a month ago. So I guess they're gonna put a parking lot over here. Underwood. No, I keep thinking about the name of the guy from House of Cards. Was actually, I thought it was a decent series. And then Kevin Spacey forgot to lock the closet door. And well, it is what it is. I'm laughing. They look over there and they got a sign that says, you know, the park hours. What the hell are they building over here? I'm looking and it's just so it was supposed to open spring of 2025. This is supposed to be now. This all is supposed to be open, and I guess it got pushed down even further. And I'm thinking they even gave themselves the cushion of next year. Got a big park over there. Every time I see a new park, I wonder how long it's going to stay nice. I do remember these being raggedy apartments. I don't know if they still are. Just one of the curious things about Dallas was that people were saying you don't usually do that. You don't put multifamily units next to mansions. My guess is the apartment existed before the multifamily. I mean, before the big people started building mansions. So when I come in here next week for the Friends of Bachman Lake meeting, when I come here next week for the Friends of Bachman Lake meeting, I won't have to step around or go over anything. This is pretty much done. And I do want to see the lights. It almost makes me want to get a bike, but I can't get out of the godforsaken neighborhood that I'm in. I've already told you what happened. My neighborhood is a hole, a neglected hole. It is a place that has been neglected and ignored. And it's just weird when you see people trying to develop in there, because they're developing in there without contributing anything to the neighborhood. They're just making a lazy attempt to put their foot in the door without having something in, and without having anything in hand. The good thing about the developers is, all right, the good thing for the developers is people aren't going to kick up much of a fuss. They'll let them get away with bloody murder over there. And I'm surprised that they haven't started doing something that I've been reading about, and that is, I'm surprised they haven't started weaponizing the code enforcement of the city to kind of chase the people out of there. But then again, I guess this year I am starting to see some signs of that. But you start going after, like I said, they went there and then they looked at half the houses. They would say, oh no, this one's got to go, that one's got to go, you can't be doing this, you can't be doing that. I was looking at it, they getting ready to put some kind of creek next to this. I don't quite get what they're doing here. Maybe these are rest stations, but I don't see them doing that here in Dallas, because like, ever since the pandemic, there seems to be an aversion to outdoor public water fountains, and I think they were using COVID as a smokescreen to discourage the homeless. How long before they put that first graffiti spray paint tag over this? We'll see. I'm recording any of this. I know like I said, my body cam's set, you know, I just turn it on and forget it. The GoPro, on the other hand, it has other plans. But I'm about to take care of that. I found out that the company that makes the body cam that I got makes the little clip extension. So I'm about to take care of a problem. Nah, it's just what a big difference, man. I find myself saying, you know, it's like I'm not going to do this while I'm walking, and I'm going to have to find a lo-fi version of it. Boy, I guess I'll find the Cory Booker one. You put the time in, I'll try to listen. I can't use YouTube. When I was paying for YouTube Premium, it wasn't worth, you know, like they say, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. I thought I was helping out the creators, and they're like, no, they don't see hardly any of that. And I was like, well, then fuck that. That was the only reason I had Premium. If you told me that you were going to be giving the guys who were coming up with stuff, you know, a great share of that, I'd sign up for it in a heartbeat. So instead, what I did was I just signed up for stuff like Nebula. Never watched Nebula, but now that might be something I can ask. It's like, hey, Nebula, can y'all put the Cory Booker speech on Nebula? And then I can just put the Nebula app on this phone, and I can just start, it might be what I'd start doing is I'll put the Nebula app on here and start listening to a lot of this stuff that I already got bookmarked on watch later on YouTube. That's not a bad idea. I doubt they're going to do it though. They'll say, well, we would love to give you the Cory Booker speech, but we want to put our spin on it, so it would be Nebula creators breaking down the Cory Booker speech. And I'd listen to like 30-second clips and then 5 minutes of them pontificating on what they think. I was like, I don't really care what you think. I have my own opinion, thank you. I have my own educated opinion. So the 24-hour filibuster becomes the 72-hour filibuster critique. I might not even have to ask. It might already be on there. Man, this has been a very nice walk, actually. I haven't even thought about my back once. Heels of my feet feel fine. always think about how beautiful that blue concrete is. I don't know how long it's going to look like that. Man, I walked the entire way without having to jump around stuff. That was quite pleasant. Thumbs up. And then, welcome to hell. And this is what I feel like whenever I say this is what Dallas thinks of where I live. And I was like, okay, we took care of everybody we needed to take care of. We're done. And I was like, well, what's going to happen here? I was like, nothing's going to happen here. You guys are on your own. Walk in the grass, you peasant. There's a hole there. Oh, that's too damn bad. So now walk on the grass. Now what they told me is this is the next phase. This is the part that isn't going to be paid for by some millionaire. This is the part that's going to be, or billionaire. This is going to be the part that's going to be paid for by the city of Dallas. So of course, you might as well just slap a tag that says TBD. This is the TBD section. This takes me back to what I was walking on 25 years ago. Because this is what I was walking on 25 years ago. This is the time capsule. Look at that. See, there's a gap there from when somebody ran over into this area and it tore up the ground. And then, so it forces this weird divot. And you see the wear path here where the people were walking through here, but that's uneven ground. That's why I don't walk through it. This guardrail might be easily 40 years old. They might have put this in back in the 80s. This part is probably about 30 years old. And they stopped using that kind of guardrail because what was happening was people would slam into it and the metal would flex and it would shear into the windshields and it would impale people. So that's mainly why they stopped using that, but you still see that slapped on over there. This right here was designed, you hit it, it gives a little bit, but it keeps you in. It's made of this rolled stuff that's supposed to take the car and push it down and crumple it. Just my luck, I get slammed into. That'd be the end of it. It's like, oh, we got the footage of his death. Pretty sure the GoPro would survive if it got hit. I wouldn't, but I think the camera would be just fine. No, they just don't give two shits. Go down to the sign office and say, hey, I take this with me. Hey, I need you to recreate this sign. I was like, where'd that come from? Where do you think? Get a couple of bolts from Home Depot down the street and just start. I could do it. I really could. I really could do this. Oh well. Maybe if I'm ever unemployed or something. Well, if I'm unemployed, I got bigger things to worry about. What you do with your unemployment check? I put a exit sign back up. Is my girl still here? She's hanging in there. She's hanging in there. I can tell you the strength of spider silk. She's getting hit with the wind here, man, and it's just, she's hanging tough. Four strands, 5, 6. She's just rocking and rolling. She says, I'm good. Man. Strong stuff. Thought it was gonna get rained on. Guess I haven't been out here long enough. Any ducks? Come on, duckish. No ducks. You gotta put down the ducky. Put down the ducky. Put down the ducky. You gotta leave the duck alone. I'm sure eventually they'll find that jackass wrapped around something. Is that another encampment? Looks like it. Alright, so theoretically what's supposed to happen is I can wave my hand, and this is for the blind. See, this doesn't work. But if I press the button... Wait to cross Northwest Highway at Marsh. That makes that chirp noise, and I'm supposed to put in a ticket for that. And I was like, I'm just happy the button works. That's how low the bar is. There's always a lot of jackasses on Northwest Highway. Oh, sweet. Okay. But yeah, that's supposed to let, you know, the blind people know, hey, it's safe to cross. All it means is that the lights, the drivers are supposed to respect that signal. Teddy Roosevelt said 2010. I think he meant 1910. Some kind of Easter celebration here. There's a lot of fancy cars. Oh, the cockpit is filled. He says, no, you can go. Yeah, I know I can go, jackass. I want to know if you can see me. Fuck turd. He looked like he wasn't old enough to drink, that's for damn sure. Hanging out at a bar. This is Texas, man. The legal drinking age is whatever the cops will let you get away with. It's the kind of stuff that winds up in your tires. Maybe I'm not being clear here. That's a nail. It's a nail for a fence post. About a 2.5 inch nail. I just kind of rolled over that with my foot. I don't really normally give a squirrel fright about all you people that drive around out there, but you're welcome.